So, what is the best way of working with your buyers as a virtual agent, especially during these current new realities as we're facing COVID-19? Hi, my name is Thomas Heimann, and a few episodes ago in this Real Estate Success 2020 series, I talked about being a virtual listing agent. And today I want to talk and share some ideas on how to be a virtual buyer agent in this day and age. And everyone is concerned about, how can I do this business when buyers don't want to meet and it's hard to do showings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you really have to think outside of the box and decide that this is real estate 3.0, and we need to think differently to do this business, and very important, to provide an incredibly amazing high touch, low friction customer service experience for your buyers. That's really key, because otherwise they just may move on to someone else. Now, the first thing that you want to do in this new reality, obviously, is to ensure that you're working with qualified buyers only. You just cannot afford to work with tire kickers. And when it comes to eventually meeting face to face, you cannot afford to risk your health to work with tire kickers that may have absolutely no commitment. So you want to be very, very selective and ensure that the people that you're going to work with, that you're going to invest your time in, because you will be spending a lot more time with them if you do it properly than you're used to, they have to be committed to you. And this comes back to doing a buyer agency agreement. So I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's talk about how to work a process with potential buyers. The first thing you want to do is you want to create a relationship with those buyers, and let them know very early on, if your initial contact is email or a phone call or text message, that you're committed to meeting their needs at the very highest level, and that you have a very high touch, frictionless system in place that will be safe for them, especially during these new realities. And in order to create that relationship, you have to meet with them face to face online. So rather than meeting with them face to face in an office, which is totally not advised, you want to meet with them online using a video call. So you want to set up a video call using FaceTime or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or Zoom. Send them a link to do an introductory meeting where you can see them, they can see you, and just let them know the purpose of this call is for them to get to know you, for you to get to know them, and walk them through the process, how we can make home buying fun, exciting, and how you can save them time and money and have a successful experience and help them find the property that they're looking for. And again, the three most important things to consumers is time. They want to save time, money. They want to save money as a buyer. And number three, they want to have absolute certainty that you're the right person. Now, once you've connected with them and met with them, the next thing you want to do is actually schedule a meeting, a Zoom meeting. I would ask them to set aside an hour of their time. And what you want to do during that meeting is to actually hop onto the MLS and explore with them together, look at what's available in terms of properties, what works for them, what doesn't work for them, different areas, different price ranges, different features. And that's how you get them to commit to the meeting. So the purpose for this meeting is to really spend some time and to go behind the curtain, and you get to see what I see, and we're going to look at the MLS together. And what you want to do, ideally, if you have a powerful IDX solution, you want to use the IDX website, because you can set up searches right then and there, and a search on an IDX website will give you much more intelligence with respect to what they actually watch, what they look at, how often they look at, and so forth, that you don't get from a tool such as Matrix MLS. But it doesn't matter if you have a crappy website, you don't have a website, then just use Matrix MLS or whatever you're using. But that is the purpose for the meeting. You got to have a reason for them to meet with you. And so once you meet, the first thing you want to do is take some time and say, listen, can I just spend 10 minutes to show you how I and my team work and how our process works to help you find your perfect home in a way that is super low friction, that's exciting, and it's going to save you time, it's going to save you money. They're going to say, sure. And then you want to take them through a formal buyer presentation. You want to do an actual short buyer presentation where you build value, and you do want to let them know that, I don't charge anything, quote unquote, for my services up front. I don't, we get generally paid by the listing agent, by the listing site, by the builder, whatever we purchase. And even let's say if you have a 3% buyer agency agreement and the listing site only pays 2%, you can ask for a closing cost contribution to cover that extra 1%. So if you do your job right, the buyer should never really have to pay anything out of pocket, but you can only spend so much time with so many people. You can really only work with 2 or 3 buyers effectively at a time, and therefore I do ask for 2 things. Number one, I ask for your loyalty. We have a very simple agreement. You can fire me at any time if you're not happy with my services, but I want to make sure that we're on the same page and that you are loyal to me and I'm loyal to you. And number 2, you have to agree with me and work with me, and it starts with getting pre-approved for financing. Not a worthless pre-qual letter, but actual pre-approval. I have a preferred lender that I work with. You don't have to use them for the financing, but I do require that you get pre-approved with them, and they will issue a commitment letter to you, and there's no cost to you for that. And if you're a cash buyer, that's fantastic, but I do require proof of funds. So you're going to have to provide me with proof of funds before we start looking. So those are my only 2 requirements. And is that okay with you? And they're going to say, sure. And then you carry on and you go into the search. You want to start to explore working with them as we used to 10, 15 years ago. 15 years ago, when there was no IDX, buyers wouldn't be able to search for things themselves. They would come into your office, you would sit in the conference room, you would have a TV screen monitor on the wall, and you would go through the MLS and look at properties with them. So we're doing something very similar here, but we got to do it in a virtual way. We got to do it online using Zoom or Google Meet or Microsoft Teams. So these are the 3 top solutions that you can use. You want to create a frictionless experience. So you want to make it super easy. You want to set up and create and refine any searches for them. You can do that during a Zoom meeting. When a buyer goes on your website, generally speaking, there's a default search created based on their initial search when they registered. But most of them aren't able to figure out how to change that search, how to create additional searches. You want to do all of that for them. So you got to make it super, super easy. Frictionless is the key. You want to get frequent feedback and revise searches as needed. If they're serious about looking at a property right now, you want to meet with them daily, literally once a day. Get some feedback. I sent you 3 more properties. What did you think? Or did you drive around that neighborhood that we talked about? And just really make it a process where you work together. It could be just a 10-minute meeting, it could be a 1-hour meeting, depending what you're going through, but you want to have a close relationship. They're looking to make an acquisition at this time right now, and you want to work with them. If they're just lollygagging around, they're really not serious, and they're, maybe in 6 months, I don't know yet, I personally wouldn't give my time to them right now. I would say, here's some tools to search, and when you're ready, let's get together then. But if somebody's ready to move forward now, you want to create a very tight bond with them. If your buyers are local and they want to drive around to view neighborhoods, you want to make sure that number one, they have your mobile app. Virtually every IDX solution has a mobile app. Stellar MLS has a mobile app. So you want to make sure that they have a mobile app, but I prefer my IDX app because my IDX app is going to be linked to me, and when they are requesting information, it comes to me. You don't want them to drive around with a Zillow app where they can then contact 3 other real estate agents to get more information. Number 2, you have to educate your buyers. So part of the whole process is to educate them that the listing agents, they're fantastic people. However, they are beholden to the seller. Their job is to work for the seller. Okay? They don't represent you as the buyer, they represent the seller. And so you want to make sure that they understand, if they see a property that looks interesting, not to pick up the phone and call the listing agent, have them pick up the phone and call you. And you will get them whatever information they want to have. So it's a matter of education. Again, it's a matter of spending some time with them to make sure that they understand the process, because most buyers really don't understand how the industry works or how the process works. Now, you want to offer to do previews for the buyer. This, again, goes hand in hand with creating that high touch experience, and why you have to have a buyer agency agreement, why you cannot do this for people that are not committed to you. But you want to offer, as you're looking at these properties together, if something really stands out, maybe they drive by the neighborhood, and advise them to drive by and see if they like the neighborhood, what their vibe is that they're getting. And then offer to do virtual walkthroughs, previews. And there are two ways you can do them. The first one is to do a live session with them, where you use FaceTime or WhatsApp to do the live video call as you're going through the home. And the great thing about that is that you can get feedback from them. They can ask questions. I did that with my brother. I don't work with buyers and sellers anymore. I'm a non-competing broker, but my brother bought an investment property a few years ago, and him and his wife are in California, and they bought this property. So this was long before there was COVID, but they bought this property without ever seeing it. They saw it the first time about a year after they purchased it, but I did live walkthroughs with them on the property. I first went and probably previewed 6, 7 properties and just did a short video, and then the short list, the 2 properties that they really liked, I did a live virtual showing with them. I used FaceTime. Both FaceTime and WhatsApp have the ability to flip between front and rear camera, so you can go forth and back. And we spent literally 45 minutes at the home going through it and looking at everything and answering questions just as we would in a real, live showing. So that alone, if done right, will work very, very well. If they're not available and they just want you to do a live preview and send them a video, what I would do personally is a live broadcast on Facebook using Facebook Live. You can flick forth and back between the front and back camera as well. And then when you're done with the broadcast, make sure you push the button to save it to your camera roll. And then using WhatsApp, which is probably the tool to send the largest file attachments, WhatsApp and Telegram also, those 2 tools allow very large file attachments. You could send the file to them and they can watch the video, or you can upload it to your YouTube channel and then share the link with them. So this is a great way to not only generate the video for them, but also create some content. But this is a very, very powerful tool that you want to use. And when an in-person showing is inevitable, so let's say they want to now see their 2 top properties, you want to make sure that you do it in a safe manner. Number one, you want to show up early, and I mean 15 minutes early. You want to turn up, all the lights. You want to have sanitary wipes and wipe down all the doorknobs and the counters. Make sure everything is, in perfect situation. Wear a face mask. Absolutely, you got to have a face mask. A lot of buyers will feel very uncomfortable if you don't, and you have to keep that distance. So you want to keep that 6-foot distance. You don't want to be shaking hands and hugging. You want to be very respectful of them. And you want to be smart, because you could get infected from them or vice versa, who knows? So you just want to be smart about it. You want to bring sanitary wipes, obviously, and hand sanitizer. What I would do if I were you is offer, a couple of squirts of hand sanitizer as they walk in, and then again, when they're ready to leave, offer some hand sanitizer as well. Other than this in-person interaction of sorts, because they want to see the home in person, which is understandable, you want to make sure that everything else is done online. So all documentation should be done online. You have to have a tool for electronic signature, .loop, DocuSign. There are many, many different solutions available. And you want to educate your buyers on the different closing options that are available. So for example, if they are cash buyers, they are able to close electronically. E-closings are now available in the state of Florida, so make sure you talk to your attorney or title company. Loan closings are a little bit more tricky, but they can still be closed. Real estate or essential services, notary, etc., essential services. The title company can send a notary out, a mobile notary, to the buyer's home, so they don't have to go out if they don't want to. There are many different ways to make this happen. Make sure that you educate your buyers on what the process is, and make sure that you support them every step of the way. Again, it's all about creating a zero friction environment. If they're purchasing a condominium, you want to make sure that you gather up-to-date documents and electronically deliver it to them, get them to sign the receipt. If they need to file an application, work with the association and them to have the application submitted electronically. Send them the document for signature via DocuSign, then move it on to the association. You just really want to make it super, super easy. You don't want to hope that the buyers are somehow going to figure out how to do it. The name of the game is frictionless and easy. So hope you got something, a couple of thoughts, a couple of ideas out of this. And there's absolutely no reason why you cannot do it. I just read an article that Seattle, which was one of the first hotspots, obviously the real estate industry, the business has slowed down a little bit there, but they're still doing a lot of transactions, multiple offers, et cetera, and they figured out how to do it in a semi-virtual fashion. So you can do the same thing. So if you haven't seen my listing video, go on my channel and look for it. If you're working with buyers, then hopefully you get some information from here. As always, if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, please post them below. And if you see this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and click on the little alarm bell so you're notified when we have new videos coming up. And again, this is Thomas Heimann. Thank you so much for taking the time, and we'll talk soon.